Hi everyone. I know that I just did a video about tariffs and what I would do if I was a seller, but then Lisa from Ela and Alice, she's located in Canada and she makes handmade junk journals, and I will put a link to her shop in and her website. She has a website. I'll put a link to everything in the description. Go check it out. But she posted a link to an article that kind of made me remember that there is this thing in place. So because this is for American, so American meaning Canadian, US, and Mexico, so North America. And there's a trade agreement called NAFTA that was replaced in 2020 with a different trade agreement that was designed to make trade between these countries a little easier. Now, if you are a Canadian or a Mexican seller, and this is mostly going to be focused on Canadians because that's the documentation that I have. If you're a Canadian seller and you want to sell things to the US market, and this is the key part of it, your products have to fit the definition of materially transformed or created in the country that it comes from. And I'll go into that in a minute. But you might be able to get around the tariffs so that your customers don't have to pay a tariff when it enters the US. I will say right up front that this is a legal process. You need to look into this for yourself. I am not a lawyer. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm just saying this is something that you should look into if you actually hand make your products and you want to continue selling to the US market. This is not going to work for everything. So for example, well, you know what? Let's just go look at the rules and we'll talk about what it says and go from there. This is the Canadian government's website. This is where you should go to get the actual information. As they say at the top, they don't have any responsibility for the accuracy of third-party platforms. If you're getting your advice off of Reddit, you might want to just come here. Basically, that's what they're saying. But this is the CUSMA. There are different acronyms for this, but it stands for the Canada, United States, Mexico Agreement. You can click here to read the whole thing if you enjoy that kind of stuff. I don't. But basically, what this does is that if you're Canadian business or a Mexican business, but we're focusing on Canada because this is the Canadian website, if your Canadian business creates goods that are compliant with the definition of made in Canada. Now, this is a little tricky, and I'll go into this in a minute, but if your products are made in Canada, then you can file paperwork to prove that and to declare that. You do have to keep all of your paperwork. You have to keep your supply list to prove that you're getting things from Canada or to prove that you are materially transforming, and we'll get into that also, that you're materially transforming whatever supplies you're getting from outside of Canada into something new. And this really just goes with the tariff classifications. So if it's the customs classification for a hat, and you are buying blank hats from China, you're bringing them into Canada, and you're putting a decal on it or you're sewing something to it, that does not qualify for this because you are not transforming it into a different customs classification. It's still a hat. So it started out as a hat. It's still a hat. And I believe, don't quote me on this, because this is the kind of thing that you need to look into for yourself. But when you ship that into the US, I believe that the country of origin is the manufacturer is going to be China. And it gets very tricky. I'm not sure how they're going to monitor this, but that kind of stuff is not covered with this. However, if you have your products are manufactured in Canada from Canadian ingredients, let's say that you buy wool from a Canadian sheep farm near you, and you spin the wool and you dye the wool with natural dyes that you make because you've gone out and bought, the natural dyes from your local suppliers, or you have, even if you've purchased a dye from China, let's say that, let's use that as the example also. If you bring that in and that's part of your process, if every single component is from Canada, then it qualifies because it's within this agreement. In the case of the dyes coming in from China, the dyes would come into Canada under one customs classification, which would be for dyes, whatever that is. But you are transforming that into something new by putting it in the yarn. You are now making dyed yarn. Okay, so when that's imported into the US, it's a different customs classification. And because it was materially transformed into something else in Canada, it does qualify for this. So what you need to do is go through here and, well, first think about your own products. If what you're doing is buying blanks from China and ironing, like you're doing heat press designs onto a t-shirt and you're importing a t-shirt and you're exporting a t-shirt, that does not qualify for this because it's the same customs classification. Okay. Like I said, if you are materially transforming something from, like the example that another website used is if you're buying zippers from China and you're sewing them into a purse, then what you're exporting to the US or other countries is a purse, not a zipper. It's a different customs classification, so it would qualify under this. Okay, so basically what you need to look at on this website, and again, this is something that you need to do for yourself. And can I just say that a lot of people were posting comments about this is just the rich getting richer. The rich get richer because they use the guidelines that are in place and they followed the rules to their advantage. All right. If you're not willing to look into this, nobody can help you. This is something that you need to do for yourself. This isn't an example of the rich get richer. It's an example of your business looking for a legal way to continue selling what you sell to other countries without having to pay tariffs. If you're using the system as it's put in place, there is nothing wrong with that. And it's not the rich getting richer, it's you maintaining your business. And technically, you could have filled all this paperwork out before, but because the de minimis in the US was so high, most people probably didn't need to. So, what you need to do is go in here. Now, this says find a customs broker. I'm not sure what this is. And somebody in my Facebook group mentioned that you have to hire a broker. You really don't. If you want to hire someone to fill the paperwork out for you, I believe that that's what this is for. But you can do all this yourself. So go into this page. Again, I'll put the link in the description. And this is basically the guidelines that you need to watch. Okay. This looks like the basic guidelines in this section. So go through and look at that. There's also a link that Lisa posted that is a link to an organization that's Common Goods in Canada. And I believe that it is kind of like an Etsy, it's an online market, if I remember correctly, but it's Canadian based. And they are doing a webinar on Tuesday, and you can watch it live, or I believe they're going to have a recording that kind of goes over all of this for Canadian sellers. It is worth looking into this. All right. Even if you're not sure, if you know for a fact that your business is not going to qualify, I would say to still go and read the documentation because there might be something that you can change in your process. For example, if you buy blanks from China, is there some place in Canada that you can get them? And I know it's going to be more expensive, so you don't need to put that in the comments, but it might be a way to get past the tariffs if this is something that is legally available to you. If you can change some of your processes, it might help to be able to sell to the US without having to worry about your customers paying tariffs and refusing the packages and the whole thing. So I'll say thank you very much to Lisa for bringing this to my attention. I had seen this before and I was aware of it, but I wasn't really thinking about it. And this is a good, it's not a loophole. It's not a loophole. It's a legal process. Again, this is not legal advice. I can't tell you if your business will qualify. You need to go and do this work for yourself. But it is something to look into if you are in Canada and you hand make your own products. It's a really good way that you might be able to get around all of the tariffs and not even have to worry about it. So leave me any questions, give this video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you later.